I thought the deep web was fake until it followed me home. Some corners of the internet aren't meant to be explored, not because they're illegal, but because they're cursed. I thought the deep web was all hype, just creepypasta and myth. But the night I clicked that anonymous link, something looked back at me, and now I won't stop watching. I was 17 when I first heard about the deep web, not the dark web, not the shady drug forums or hacker groups you read about in Reddit threads. The real deep web. The kind whispered about in YouTube horror videos and late-night Discord calls. Sites that supposedly didn't exist unless they wanted you to find them. It sounded like an urban legend. And like every bored teenager with a secondhand laptop, I had to see it for myself. I didn't go in blind. I watched tutorials, installed Tor, used VPNs, set up burner emails. I was careful. At first, it was just what I expected. Strange marketplaces, encrypted forums, chat rooms where nobody used their real name. Most of it was boring or try-hard edgy. But then I found it, a thread on a hidden forum titled, "For those who want to see the truth." Inside was a single post with no comments, no upvotes, no timestamps. Just a plain text sentence. Click only if you're ready. There's no going back. And a link. Even my antivirus screamed. But curiosity always wins. I clicked it. The screen went black for a few seconds. Then it loaded what looked like a video player. There was no title, no username, no interface, just a grainy, static-filled screen. Then something shifted. The video started playing. It was a feed from a security camera, or maybe a webcam. A poorly lit basement, maybe? Nothing moved at first. The audio buzzed low in the background like distant electricity. And then, in the back corner of the screen, something blinked. I leaned forward. It was a face. Pale. Expressionless. Watching. And then it smiled. I clicked out. Or I tried to. But the window wouldn't close. I hit escape. Alt und F4. Nothing worked. The screen stayed frozen on that face, which was now slowly rising. Then the feed jumped. The face was closer, as if the camera had cut to a different angle. I swear its eyes locked with mine. The corners of its mouth twitched like it was enjoying my panic. I yanked the power cord. The screen went black. I sat in my room, heart pounding. It had to be a scare site. Some hacker trick, right? That's when my phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. No contact name. No thread history. It said, "Why did you leave?" I dropped the phone. I didn't answer. I couldn't. My room suddenly felt wrong, like it wasn't just mine anymore. I turned on all the lights. Paced. Rationalized. Okay, maybe it was a prank. Maybe the website logged my IP. Maybe someone was messing with me. That made more sense than the alternative, that somehow something from that feed had seen me, aware of me. The next morning, everything seemed normal. My laptop rebooted fine. The link was gone from my history. The forum page was offline. Dead URL. That actually gave me some relief. Until I got to school and saw the drawing in my locker, taped to the inside. No envelope. No name. It was crude, drawn in pen on notebook paper, but it was unmistakable. That face, the same one from the video, the hollow white eyes, the stretched smile. But this time it was drawn standing at the foot of my bed. The drawing was labeled in shaky letters. Night 1. I didn't tell anyone. Not my friends, not my parents. How could I? Hey Mom, I think a cursed internet ghost is stalking me because I clicked a sketchy link. I threw the drawing away. Burned it, actually. That night, I stayed up. No screens. Just me and a baseball bat, sitting in my room with every light on. Nothing happened. Until 3:12 a.m. I heard the click of my front door unlocking. We have one of those digital locks, not a key. And it makes this high-pitched beep when opened. I froze. My parents were asleep. No one else had the code. I didn't breathe. I just listened. Soft footsteps, then silence, then something heavier dragging across the floor. I finally worked up the nerve to crack my door open just an inch. Down the hall, past the stairs, I saw the shape of a man. No, something man-shaped standing in the foyer. He wasn't moving, just watching. My phone was still in my room. My bat felt like a twig. Then he turned his head. Not like a person. He snapped it sideways in one unnatural jerk. I slammed the door and locked it. I didn't hear footsteps. I didn't hear anything. But when I finally opened the door an hour later, nothing was there. The door was locked again. I checked the security cam my dad had installed over the porch months ago. The feed was corrupted. Black static from 2:45 to 3:30 a.m. That day at school, there was another drawing. This time, the figure was inside my room. The label read, Night 2. It became a pattern. Every night, something visited. Sometimes it opened drawers. Sometimes it just stood in the corner. One night, it whispered. I never understood the words, but they made my ears ring. Every day, a new drawing appeared. Night 3, Night 4, Night 5. I tried telling my parents. They brushed it off as stress. I stopped sleeping. I stopped eating. I started to see that face in reflections, in windows, in puddles. One morning, I found a note on my desk, written in the same shaking pen as the drawings. Clicking wasn't the beginning. It was the invitation. That was the night I realized it wasn't just following me. It was invited, and it wanted me to know that the game had only just begun. The note on my desk was simple, written in jagged pen strokes like a child learning to write again. Clicking wasn't the beginning. It was the invitation. That single line rewrote everything I thought I knew. It wasn't just that I accessed something cursed. I invited it in. All the safeguards I thought would protect me, the VPNs, private browsers, burner emails, none of it mattered. That cursed video, that pale figure on the screen, it wasn't trying to scare me. It was waiting for me to notice it. And when I did, it accepted the invitation. I didn't go to school that day. I stayed in bed, barely blinking, afraid that if I let my guard down for even a second, it would happen again. That I'd look up and see that face in my window or reflected in my monitor. I couldn't trust screens anymore, or mirrors, or shadows. The next morning, another drawing was waiting for me. But this time, it wasn't taped to my window. It was already inside the house. Sitting on my pillow, it showed the same crude image of me sleeping. But now, the figure was on all fours, crawling up the side of my bed. Its mouth was wider this time, open in an impossible grin, filled with rows of sharp, childlike teeth. Written across the bottom of the page in smeared red ink. Night 7, closer. I wanted to scream, but my throat tightened every time I tried. My mind went into survival mode. I didn't know if this was a ghost, a demon, a hallucination, or something entirely new, something born from digital decay and belief. But I knew one thing. It was growing stronger, more real, more present. I started avoiding electronics entirely. I left my phone off, covered mirrors with blankets, unplugged every device in my room. I even started sleeping in the living room near my parents' room. But it didn't help. I woke up on the couch that night to the sound of soft scratching. Not like nails on a wall, more like something thin, sketching. I sat up, heart pounding, and turned toward the sound. A piece of paper was being pushed under the front door. I waited, silent, frozen. When it slid all the way through, I hesitated, then picked it up. This one was different. The drawing was of the outside of our house. Me, standing inside the living room. The figure, perched on the roof, peering down with blank white eyes. No label, no title, just a single sentence scrawled in the corner. Your home isn't safe anymore. I finally broke. I went to the police. I told them someone was stalking me, leaving threats. I brought them the drawings. They gave me a long look. One of the officers asked if I had a history of drug use or sleep disorders. Another asked if I had proof of forced entry. I had none. They kept one of the drawings and sent me home with a generic restraining order form. Useless against something that isn't human. But that wasn't the worst part. That night, the drawing returned. The same one I gave the police. But this time it had changed. The figure was holding something. A crumpled sheet of paper. And inside its black, clawed hand was a badge. I started researching again, digging deeper than I had before. I found obscure threads, erased blog posts, even archived Reddit comments from deleted users. They talked about something called the Eyes Behind, an urban legend, supposedly, a presence that lives in forgotten servers and corrupted data. It doesn't infect machines. It infects people through awareness. Once you've seen it, acknowledged it, given it your attention, it follows. Not physically, not at first, but through reflections, patterns, thoughts, through drawings. One comment stopped me cold. If you start seeing sketches of yourself, you've already been chosen. That night, I burned every drawing I had. I used a lighter and a metal bin in the backyard. I watched them curl and blacken until not even ash remained. I hoped that would be the end. But when I woke up the next morning, my ceiling was covered in drawings. Hundreds of them. Taped, glued, stapled, covering every inch of plaster above my bed. Each one was slightly different. Me sleeping, me eating, me brushing my teeth. And in every single one, it was there, watching, smiling. Closer and closer in each image. One drawing was completely black except for two white, round eyes. Written above it in a bold, frantic scrawl. Night 8, inside. I tried sleeping at my friend Will's house that night. I didn't explain much, just said I needed to crash for a while. He didn't ask questions. His room was safe. Ordinary. We stayed up watching stupid YouTube videos and laughing. For a few hours, I actually felt normal again. But around 2:30 a.m., the power went out. Will groaned, assuming it was just a fuse, and went to check the basement. I stayed in his room, trying to shake the rising dread. Then my phone lit up, despite being off. No ringtone, no bus, just the screen turning on. A notification from an app one didn't recognize. A red icon, no name. It opened automatically, and there it was. The video again, the grainy feed, the pale figure. Only this time, it wasn't in some shadowy basement. It was in Will's basement. The layout was unmistakable. I've been down there before. That same crooked shelf, that same busted water heater, and behind it movement. I screamed for Will, but before he could answer, the video glitched, and I saw the figure turn toward the camera. Then it lunged. The screen went black. Seconds later, I heard a crash from the basement. I bolted down the stairs. Will was on the floor, pale, confused, shaking. He said he'd seen something crawl past the laundry room, but when he turned around, it was gone. I didn't tell him what I saw, but in the doorway, where he'd fallen, was a piece of paper, crumpled and half wet. Another drawing, this time of both of us, sleeping, and standing over us, a taller, more detailed version of the figure. Its grin split open so wide, its jaw dislocated. Written across the bottom. Night 9 shared. I couldn't keep doing this. It was no longer just me. I had dragged Will into it too. Maybe others. Anyone I interacted with. This thing didn't want to scare me anymore. It wanted to spread. The signal wasn't just stalking. It was multiplying. Every time I told someone, it grew stronger. Every time someone looked at the drawings, it got closer. Now the only way to fight it might be to go deeper into the very place I found it. Back into the darkest corners of the web. Back to where it began. If I'd known what I was bringing into my life when I clicked that cursed link, I never would have touched the deep web. I would have smashed my computer walked into the woods, and never looked back. But now it was too late. The signal wasn't just haunting me anymore. It was infecting the people around me. Well, my family, maybe even the cops. Every time I tried to ignore it, it pushed harder. Every time I shared it, it grew stronger. I was out of options. There was only one move left. Go back to where it started. Back into the darkest pit of the deep web. I reconnected the burner laptop, the one I swore I'd never use again. I opened the Tor browser, double-checked the VPN, wiped the cookies, and braced myself. No distractions. No music. Just silence and dread. My hands trembled as I typed in a string of broken links I'd save the night I found the video. Most were dead now. Error pages, corrupted archives, forums long since scrubbed. But one link still worked. It didn't even have a name. Just a blinking green dot. I clicked, and the screen filled with darkness. At first I thought it crashed. But then, words began to slowly appear, one line at a time, as if someone were typing live on the other end. You returned. Good. It's already inside you. I didn't reply. I couldn't. You let it in. You spread it. And now you're ready to see the truth. Then the screen flashed white, and another video autoplayed. Same grainy resolution. Same dim basement. But this time, there were multiple figures standing in the background. All of them tall. Still. Watching. And in the front, closer to the camera, was me. A perfect drawing. An animated sketch. Breathing. Moving. Eyes darting back and forth in panic. It was a video of me. But not me now. It was me 3 nights ago, asleep on the couch at Will's place. The signal had been watching me from angles I never noticed. Recording. Feeding. And now, it was replicating me. I slammed the laptop shut and nearly vomited. This wasn't just about the web anymore. It wasn't digital. It wasn't virtual. This was a parasitic intelligence, a thought form that moved through images, through memory, through exposure. I remember one of the forum posts I read earlier. Don't share the drawings. Don't show the video. Don't even describe the figure in too much detail. That's how it spreads. I had done all 3. That night, the drawings came back. Hundreds of them. This time, they weren't just images. They were animated, flickering at the edges, moving subtly, the figures' heads turning, their eyes blinking. On one page, its hand reached slightly toward me, its fingers longer than before, tipped with inky claws. The drawings moved like GIFs, but they were just ink. Paper. I tried to destroy them again, this time with bleach. But as I doused the pages, I heard whispers behind me. Not voices. Not speech. Just static, like 1,000 voices trying to say my name at once through a broken radio. And the moment the bleach soaked through the final page, all the power in the house died. Pitch black. I could hear my parents yelling from their bedroom upstairs. My little brother started crying. I ran to the breaker in the basement and threw every switch, but nothing came back on. Then my phone buzzed, despite being powered off and smashed the night before. The screen was cracked, flickering, but the image was unmistakable. A live feed. Of my house. The video was being streamed from inside our living room. And the figure was already there, watching the front door, waiting. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, my mom confronted me. She'd found a drawing under her pillow. A picture of her, eyes gouged out, with the figure cradling her like a doll. She thought it was